How's it going, guys? Vaibhav here, and today we're talking about the Sony PS5 DualSense controller. It's Sony's newest announcement in terms of the PS5. We talked about the technical specs of the PS5 a bit earlier on the channel, but now the controller is finally official and I have it in front of me right now. So first impressions, it looks kind of ugly. It looks a lot like the Xbox controller, and it also sort of looks like the BMW i8. You can judge that for yourself, but to me it does look like it. Now, from a design perspective, the black and white color finish isn't the best solution, and I'll tell you why. I like how the lights are now off to the side of the touch bar. That's a new feature of the DualSense controller, but the black and white color scheme, especially the white on the handle, is going to attract smudges very, very easily. And compare that to, say, a PS4 controller that has this monotonous look. It's got these nice colored buttons. If you look at the DualSense controller, it doesn't have that much color to it. Now, people on Photoshop have sort of changed how they'd like the DualSense controller to look at the final release date of the PS5. And what they've done is they've changed the color scheme to a full black, which I'm in agreement of. They've also added a splash of color to the PlayStation logo on the front, which supposedly is the power button of the controller. And they've also added a splash of color to all of the 4 keys of the controller, and I think those changes would have just made the controller look a lot better. But aside from the looks, let's talk about the technology behind the controller. So if you look at these pictures right here, you can see that it might have a Type-C USB port, which is great, sticking to the advances in technology, but it also has a few changes in terms of the microphone, the haptics of the actual controller, and the audio immersion. So I think what Sony has done with the DualSense is focused a lot on audio tech. So it has Tempest 3D audio tech, which basically means it's got haptic feedback built into the actual controller. Now, how they've done it is when you're driving a car, for example, and you have a rough road, you can sort of feel that roughness from the controller's haptic engine, which I think is a good feature to sort of immerse yourself in the game. Another thing they've done to immerse yourself in the game is they've changed these triggers. So the back triggers, the L2 and the R2 triggers, now have a realistic feel to them. So they've got this realistic texture. They've got adaptive triggers, which was a really hard engineering feat according to Sony. And I think it just, again, makes for an overall immersive and realistic experience in the long run. Now, another big change, if you see the front of the controller, is that the share button is now gone. It's replaced by something that Sony likes to call the create button. And with create, you can obviously create and share the best gameplay that you record with the PS5 to all your friends online and all of that stuff. So it just changed aesthetically, but the core feature set remains pretty much the same. The last feature that I want to address is that the DualSense controller now also has a built-in microphone. So if you don't want to use a pair of headphones to listen to your gameplay or to chat with your friends when playing, you can now chat via the controller natively. I think that's a great move by Sony. And if you do want to sort of enhance the quality of this chat and audio, you will need to connect headphones, and I'm guessing it's a 3.5mm headphone jack or a Type-C on the front as well. I'm not sure. It looks like the 3.5mm headphone jack is staying on the controller, which I think is a good sign. Now, Sony has tested the ergonomics of the controller with a lot of gamers, or so it claims that they've tested with a lot of people, different hand sizes, and they say it's very comfortable. And I'm sure it's very comfortable. It's very nice to hold in the hand, but I'm just not a fan of that color scheme. So I wish Sony sort of builds on the feedback that they've got from consumers in these couple of hours, because the PS5 is still a long way, maybe a few months. They say towards the end of the holiday season, so that's a couple of months away. But I think if they could make a pure black version of the controller, that would be fantastic with the color schemes that I talked about earlier. I think that would just make the controller look a lot better. I'm sure they have many more designs in the pipeline that they want to experiment with, and I'm down for that. But just this white look isn't boding well with me, or just from this first impression. This might change once I start using the controller and seeing that it might not attract as many smudges as I thought. But to me, right now, it is a bit flawed. But I think that about covers everything that Sony's released with its new controller. Thanks for watching this video. Do let me know what you guys think down in the comments and whether or not you like this dual tone finish, because I'm sure there are people out there who love this dual tone finish and can't wait to get their hands on the controller. Once the PS5 is on pre-order, I'll be sure to pre-order it, buy it, whatever, and whenever it comes out to the local public, I will try and test it out. So that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.